Okay, so for everyone who has just joined for the first time and have never attended an AMA here in the Discord before, just be aware this is set up in a way where you see in front of you, you have a little hand button. If you have a question, we will invite you to come and ask your question. If you don't want to speak or you don't want to be recorded speaking or you're a bit nervous, no problem at all. We have the AMA chat just above and you can type your question in there. So feel free to either type to us or raise your hand and we'll invite you to the stage. It's very likely that we'll have less people coming to the stage than we will have people typing. Plus, people have already come to us with questions, so we'll kick off with a few questions that we've already had. Obviously, in the last 2 days, some big things have been announced. A couple of very, very large updates are coming out on the 19th of May. I know that personally I'm extremely excited about this. I've seen some of the stuff that's coming. I cannot wait to see what you guys do with it. Obviously, can't tell you all the details of what you're going to be able to get your hands on when you get into these new penthouse. But in the next few days, we'll explain more information about the raffle as well, and tease a bit more here and there about the contents of not just the new penthouse and the new base apartment, but also the joke apartments. So stay tuned for that. But on that topic, the first few questions that have come out straight away are ones that have been raised a few times before now, and they tend to be around a bit of confusion around the joke apartments themselves, how they're going to work, and what way in which they're going to be impacting the Infiniverse and how they're going to be implemented. So first question to you two straight away is, how are the joke apartments going to be added to the Infiniverse? Do the joke community NFT holders have any advantage at all, or is it going to be fair game for everyone?
Do you want to answer that, Sam, or shall I?
You go ahead. You've done the code. I think you'll probably get a better answer out of yourself than out of me.
All right then. So everybody has seen the new city. So probably on either late May the 18th or something, we're going to allocate a random selection of apartments and a few penthouses from the center of that city to joke. So it'll basically be, if you turn up at the right time, you'll see apartments just start getting awarded to joke, just as though somebody else were buying an apartment. You'll see joke automatically buy an apartment. And there'll be, I can't remember the exact number. It's compared to the number of properties in that city, tiny. I think it's.
Yeah.
I think we've allocated. Small percent. Yeah. I think within a small region of the center of the city, it's a certain percentage of them are penthouses, but the majority are still up for grabs by everybody. So, yeah, I mean, do the joke people have an advantage? Well, I suppose the people who are getting a redeem code as a result of buying the joke NFT are getting one of those apartments, but they don't have any advantage on top of that. They don't have an advantage buying additional apartments. And
to make it clear, they're not having first dibs or anything.
No. We are randomly allocating a large-ish number of apartments up front before we unlock the city. And they will literally, all appear to just be owned by joke. Like, they will look like their apartments. I suspect Beck Bay will own more apartments in Infiniverse than Joke will, to be honest. If we've allocated them all.
Exactly.
And yeah, then across the course of the next few days, you'll see, as people redeem their codes, those Joke apartments start getting transferred to their rightful owners. And in the meantime, people can buy and sell just like normal within that city.
Yep.
I mean, that part of it is quite exciting.
Buying or selling a joke apartment will be the interesting one, because people will be able to sell them, and they will be unique.
And that's one of the key things we just got to highlight there, is that the uniqueness of the joke apartments is obviously a very, very cool feature, and something that we would like to be able to get towards with everybody and all apartments in the near future. So get familiar with the concept of seeing apartments are all exactly the same. That won't happen anytime immediately soon, but it is very much on our list of things that we're looking into, how we can achieve and how we can work with the beginnings of this tech to extend it and take it further so that we can let people have access to really cool apartments across the whole of Infiniverse. And those apartments will be more and more unique as we progress.
Mm-hmm. And just to make it extremely clear, because obviously the community has been growing so rapidly that there are people who are coming in now who have no idea about the arrangement with the joke community. And there are people who are only just finding out now that Joke even are getting apartments. So just to clarify that, when Joke first came to the Multiverse app, there was an agreement where anybody who bought and minted one of their Jungle Cat NFTs before a certain date would also get an apartment here in the Infiniverse. And that was, I can't remember specifically when that was. Was it January, February? I know it was a few months back.
It was in January that the agreement was made, and we did it, with them at pretty much at the beginning of the launch of Infiniverse. And it was one of the key parts to their stepping into Multiverse and Infiniverse was the ability for them to be able to give their NFT holders an apartment. So we've been working on the tech for that for a long time. And it has to be said, the delay in getting these apartments out is entirely on our side from a point of view of the code and the content creation needed. Joke have been very eager to get these apartments out earlier. We are obviously using this at the same time as a launching point for both the Joke apartments, but also the new apartments and penthouses across the whole of the map, which is again where this becomes even more exciting.
Yeah, exactly. And I know as well that this is just the first of potentially many repeat situations. Obviously, the more partnerships or the more people come forward like Joke, you may find in the future that we might have incredible partnerships and incredible opportunities later on down the road. So you may miss out, may have missed out from January because you've joined late. But then who knows? We might have partnerships with some incredible big ticket incredible opportunities later on, so you might have the same opportunity later on with somebody else. So don't necessarily feel like you've missed out and it'll never happen again. We might find the same thing later on.
I think the really important thing that is to not think in terms of missing out. The whole point of Infiniverse and the beauty of it all is it's a continuously changing ecosystem and economy, and the fact that we're giving a load of apartments to people with redeem codes means that they will be in the economy, and you may well be able to buy one from somebody who doesn't want theirs anymore.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
If you're missing out, all you're missing out on is the chance to redeem a code.
Yeah,
that's the difference.
And to when we say you feel like missing out, it's not really missing out, because minting that NFT wasn't any small feat in itself. So if anything, it's a bonus perk for something that they did anyway. But who knows? There might be people out there who don't want to redeem their code, and will just sit on it a while, and maybe you can convince them to let you buy it off of them. You don't know, and that's a key point.
I mean, the other thing to make sure we note is that this isn't linked to the NFT. It is linked to the redeem code.
Exactly.
So it is something that people are getting aside from the NFT, because they've minted the NFT. They have the access to this redeem code, but it doesn't transfer with the ownership of the NFT. So any sale of the NFT does not mean a trade in the apartment. If you've got that apartment through your redeem code, then you can trade that independently of the NFT.
I think that is also quite a poignant point, because I've seen inside the Joke apartments. I cannot wait to show you or let people see what's inside these apartments. It's really good. And if you could if one of those goes up for sale, I'm sorry, everyone's going to have to fight me for it personally, because I'm going to be the one that's going to be there bidding and trying to negotiate myself, because I desperately want one. So yes, very jealous of them people, but at the same time, I'm going to be trying to convince as many people as possible, because I know that the contents of that apartment stays in that apartment, even if you then decide to sell it on again.
Yeah, I mean that's quite cool, and I'm quite excited to see how that works out. I definitely want a penthouse joke, and I'm gonna have to vie for one of those if I'm not lucky enough to get one. So
didn't think that one through really. We should have got one for ourselves.
Yes. But no, the concept of these joke apartments and being, very fun and cool is great. And myself, I've been involved in the creation of the apartments and what goes into them. And it is going to be a very standout apartment. It is going to feel very different. And I'm excited for how that kicks off a desire for everybody else to have new types of unique and bespoke content across the app, which obviously we're going to be able to support now that we can do this once. It does mean that we'll be in a position to be able to do this again, and not necessarily under the same structure, but under different, structures with different partners in different ways.
I think one of the points that is causing a little bit of confusion, specifically about the new increase in value for the penthouses, was regards to the storefront cost. I know you know the maths behind it, Chris, so maybe you could explain that the storefronts aren't going to not going to increase in price at all, correct?
Storefronts pricing is not changing. Nope. Storefronts are staying exactly the same. There you go. That's a simple answer. It's a simple question.
There's a lot of complicated math behind it. Yeah. So yeah, I think a few people across in-app and on Facebook have raised that point. So just making it extremely clear. Storefronts stay exactly the same. And the other thing that people have asked about, obviously, and it was you probably knew this question was coming, is the situation with balcony. Can you explain what's happening with the balcony? Balcony gate, exactly.
Well, do you want to do this one, San?
I'll take the blame for this one. So balconies. Balconies are probably, in the long run, they're my fault. So you can blame me for those all the way along. Everybody, all the hate mail, send it to me. But basically, what we did was very early on when we launched Infiniverse, and again, falling back on the old thing, which we are trying to get rid of, but we didn't know it was going to be this successful or kick off this much. So we were doing things relatively slapdash. And one of the things that we did was we took an apartment that we'd made that had a balcony on the left-hand side, and we used that as a basis for the apartments. And it's been great. People have enjoyed it. It's got a couple of TVs in it, and it's got a sofa and a view, which is cool. But it doesn't deliver upon a lot of the other things that we wanted to do with apartments. And it doesn't scale or allow us to do some of the cool things that we want to do in the future. So it's a little bit, I don't know, like driving a horse-drawn cart, but knowing that we want to be able to ship everybody Ferraris. So we're in this situation where we now have to upgrade the apartments, and the choice could be, multiple different things. However, due to both technical reasons as well as the goals of where we want to get to, which is a scenario of uniqueness and value across apartments for everybody, not just uniqueness for joke, but uniqueness for everybody, we need to do some really big changes to how the apartments work. And as a result, we've made an executive decision. When I say we, it's Chris and me, but I'm going to take the blame. Have made an executive decision that we are going to simply give everybody the new apartments. And yes, that does mean that people will lose a left-facing balcony. However, that is the extent of the negative. And there are so many positives that outweigh this that we just felt it was the right thing to do. The balcony on the left is obviously great for some people who've had views over areas that they wouldn't otherwise have seen. But it's got a lot of negatives with it that we're going to now be getting rid of. The balconies on the new apartments can also look left and right. So you can stand on the balcony and you can see things to the left and you can see things to the right. So a view that you had might not be as big, but it will still be there. And you will still be able to see, I don't know, a yacht or a statue or something to the left when you're standing on the balcony.
Plus,
that's important to note.
Not forgetting, we also recently increased the view range by 2K.
Exactly.
So theoretically, if you're in one of these really high balconies or like really high buildings, you now have greater distance to be able to see. So all of a sudden, you may be within the range of seeing a statue, or you may be within the range of seeing one of the monuments of the city. So I'd say go back and check all of your higher balconies and see what your view is now.
And I think you've got to think about it. If you look at a photo, it's sort of a little bit misleading because it makes you think that you've only got a 90-degree view straight ahead of what is in the apartment. But when you stand on the balcony, you've got definitely more than 180 degrees view from that balcony, and you will see things out there. We also have plans, as I've insinuated, on the R&D front to look into whether it's possible to give people balconies on the left and the right on buildings that have views to the left and the right. One of the issues that, there's loads of different things, and I'm going to be simplifying this to the point where Chris is cringing probably deep down inside. But we're in a situation where the apartments that we're giving out are, they're going to allow us to do things that we could not do before. So in the long-term future, one thing that a lot of people are talking about is being able to see more people in the app, be able to stand on a balcony and wave at people in the balcony upon the building opposite. Now, that's not something we're going to be able to do today or this month or anything like that, but it is something that we are working towards, and Chris is keeping very much in his late night dreams and subconscious thinkings and workings out of how we go about achieving that end result. And one of the things to do that is not going to be hiding buildings to the left that would otherwise be blocking your balcony view. And at the moment, that's one of the limitations that we have with the current apartment, where you've got this huge balcony on the left, and it actually forces us to hide buildings that would be there. But that puts us in a position where you can't stand and look and wave at people in the building next to you. So there are a lot of different considerations that have gone into this. We do understand that a few people are going to be disappointed by the fact that their view on the left may have gone. I think that that's going to be outweighed massively by the future technical achievements we can make because of this decision, as well as the future art improvements we'll be able to make to the current apartments, but also new templates, new apartments, new unique content that we can do with this new tech. So I think that in general, it's going to be a win. But for those of you that hate us because of this, please direct all your hate at me. It's my fault.
It's all Sam's fault. Totally. So does this mean that in the future, Atassa and Player One Up can play table tennis from each other's balcony?
Exactly.
Oh, I would pay money to see that, to be honest.
I just promised something that Chris is cringing again about, but no. On a serious note, we won't be able to play table tennis from balcony to balcony anytime soon. But that concept of being able to interact with people across an actual city where there isn't, the shard limitations aren't the same as they are now, is something that we want to achieve. It is important to us. It is something that is an extremely significant technical challenge, but at the same time, something that we will be pushing Chris towards.
Yeah, poor Chris.
We will.
And not just Chris.
I mean, that's not that's a when, not an if. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Very much so. I think that's part of the future of the metaverse, if there is one, and you want to talk about it. I think one aspect of it is getting rid of the sense of there being a fixed number of people that you can be with.
Yeah. It's a very common request that having more ability to meet with more numbers of people within a single shard. We know that it's a big request from the community, but we're also dealing with coming up with ways to make your lives a little bit easier at the moment with what we currently do have. Because like Chris and Sad said, it's something they're not forgotten. It's just they need time to actually do it properly. Because one of the things I hear quite a lot from you guys is it's better to do it properly and do it without screwing it up and actually doing it the right way, which I'm
Yes.
very grateful for that, because I know from my experience of other games where I've been into an app and they've implemented something and servers have crashed and they've been down for weeks. I would hate for that. So I appreciate you guys taking the time to do it properly and think it through about how you can best implement some of the stuff that the community wants.
Just to be clear, that is primarily Chris. I'm the one shouting, no, give us this stuff. And he's like, San, shut up. But yeah, we can give Chris credit for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I think the balconies are a very good example of a situation you hit a lot in development, where we have this feature we want to give out, and there isn't a good way of doing it, because we could only upgrade certain apartments, but then a lot of people would miss out. We could upgrade everybody, but then we have people who are annoyed about losing balconies. We could try and make it optional, but then we have to put a load of code time into adding user interface and buttons and server logic that understands what option you've chosen. Or we could delay the whole thing and not release anything until we've got more models with balconies. And part of it being a beta is, it's not a question of are we going to do it? It's a question of do we wait until we've got it all and then launch it all at once, or do we get things out as quickly as we can?
Yeah.
And by and large, we find, even though you get ups and downs, people like change, and they like to see the new stuff coming in. And that's where we lean to when we're faced with a decision like that, is let's not be tempted into the AAA game developer thing of keeping all our cards hidden until we're willing to launch everything at once, because it's boring.
Yeah, definitely. And it
would take a decade.
Exactly.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
And that's the thing, a good point to mention is that, like, right now, the rate in which you can release anything is entirely dependent on the amount of people you have to work on it. But you're progressively growing. So that means that as you go along, the rate in which you can get stuff out should theoretically mean that stuff can come out faster than, say, they would 10 months ago. So I think that's
not only that, but we're in a situation where the people that are on board, some of the new people we got, whether it's Arsene, Roman, Leon, etc. We've got these people that are going to be skilling themselves up to a point where they can do it quicker and faster, and that is something that people will probably start noticing with the whole visual look of Infiniverse. We've seen Roman and primarily Marco take a stab at making Infiniverse visually better. You've seen things like the water come in, you've seen things like the marina appear, you've seen things like the new textures for the buildings, and they're all great. We love them, and they're amazing. But this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning of that getting better and better, and this is just the beginning of those guys learning what are the technical limitations, how to navigate those and take that on board themselves. So not only new people coming on board makes it liable to see more changes more quickly, but also it means that those people are going to be getting more skilled, better at it, and we'll be seeing them able to do more quicker.
I think that's one of the things that we often kind of forget as well, is that there are things being worked on by some of the new people that have joined that we obviously can't tell you about, because if we tell you about them now and it takes them some time to learn how to do it, or something comes up and it delays it, then it would feel like we've promised something that we aren't able to deliver on. But sometimes it may feel like we're not working on something, but the reality is we're working on something, but we're allowing it to have as much time as it needs to be done correctly and at a good quality, and also to allow the new people who have joined the team time to understand the limitations and get to grips with it properly. So
exactly,
as much as we want to tell you everything, we can't.
Yeah, I mean, Leon is working on some really, really, really cool stuff, but I don't want to promise it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to say anything, because you know what? suddenly the fact that we didn't deliver that yesterday will become a problem.
Exactly.
It is a problem that we haven't delivered it yesterday, but it's going to be delivered and it will be done, and it's going to be really, really cool.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, that's another thing. And another point that we made on the channel today that I'd like to bring up. There's a lot of people who like different things. There's people who have different priorities, and people are very passionate about this project, like us, which is great. And we love you, and we love everything that you've got to say about it all. But some people might not like statues, or they get upset at the fact that all we're doing is adding new artwork to the app, and we should be doing other things. That is not the case. Art and code are two separate things, and they can run in parallel. So we do have a situation quite often where you will see art getting produced at a faster visual pace than code, but code can take weeks and weeks to work on, to deliver, and it's a much larger task. So while Roman can make a magnificent statue that gleams across the whole of Infiniverse in its shining, glorious beauty in a week or so, Chris might take, months to be able to get the code to a point where it's optimized that allows us to add the next piece of cool code at the other end. And that doesn't mean Chris is slow and relaxing. It just means that the code is really, really darn complex. And, there's two different parallel paths of work going on. So, yeah, please bear with us and think about that, and be aware that we are aware of the sort of things that you guys want. We are aware that we need to deliver both code and art, and we are doing both.
Yeah, exactly. Just bear with me a second. I'm going to throw a topic at you, and then I need to help Wendy, because apparently we're having problems getting this into the app. But one of the questions that came up is, are you going to improve the voice control to detect accents? Because I don't know if it's preferring American accents or English accents, but a lot of the time I find myself having to spell out a word because it doesn't understand what I'm saying.
So there's different areas of the voice control. Just to get techie for a second, the two key areas in something like voice control are called transcription, which is the bit that takes what you say and converts it to text. And then there's the natural language processing, which is what takes the text and tries to convert it into a search term that finds stuff for you. The big issue with the voice stuff at the moment is the latter bit, the bit that takes the text and tries to turn it into something that it can find, is utterly crap. I wrote it when there were a few hundred locations, and now it just doesn't work. I think we all know it doesn't work. It's broken, and I'm going to be looking at fixing that very soon. Once we have nailed that, and that bit works, and we know that if the voice system gets the right query, if it works out what you said correctly, it gives you good search results. We can then go and look at the transcription again and say, well, why is the transcription sometimes not picking up on this word or that word? Unfortunately, that bit is less in our control because we use the Oculus Voice API, and the Oculus Voice API is what does that transcription. We are in contact with them. We can go back to them and say, this isn't working, that isn't working. And I suspect if we go back to them with enough evidence like that, then they will get around to fixing it, because it's in their interests to make sure it recognises different accents and things as well. So first thing, in summary there, is we fix the searches. We make sure that if it picks up that you said, take me to Infiniverse, it doesn't, take you to the solar system, which is what it does at the moment. Once it's got that, we will look at the transcription again.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be clear, there's a sub element of that I just want to point out. We talk about, you wrote this early on where there were just a few hundred locations. Now we're dealing with hundreds of thousands of locations.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a significant difference in scaling up that has happened between the initial implementation and where we are now. And that, that is all thanks to you guys. So
yeah,
thank you for creating hundreds of thousands upon hundreds of thousands of new locations across Infiniverse. But at the same time, that has meant that the voice search, which used to have to sift between 100 highly different locations, now has to find the right location for 100 apartments, all called King Kong, or something like that. So it is a complex task. It is something that's broken. It is something we're going to be fixing. When I say we, I mean Chris. It's something that we are all very eager to have fixed because we use it as much as you guys do. The fact that sometimes I have to contact Willa privately on the Discord chat to say, hey, Willa, can you help me find something? Is a humiliation that I don't really want to go through very often. But thank you, Willa, for helping me find it anyway. You are the map queen.
Yeah, I think if it wasn't for Willa, I also would get lost. But also, if it wasn't for Willa, I think that Ollie and me would have a harder time specifically finding locations in which we need to put stuff down or go and investigate because it's broken. So yeah, thanks for that, Willa. Another question, just to circle back to the NFTs for joke. Just to clarify, when we say a building or apartments are going to be allocated and designated for joke apartments, doesn't mean the entire building. So it will be randomly selected, and it means you can also buy into the same buildings as joke apartments that are in there. It's not they getting an entire building. That's correct, is it not, Chris?
Yeah, I've actually written specific code to make sure that there is space in all buildings in that city when we launch it, regardless of how many joke apartments have been purchased. So there will not be a single building that is full up.
Yeah, which is great. It means that personally, I'm going to be there when it opens. By the way, everyone keeps asking, when are we going to unlock Megastar City? Am I correct in saying we're going to put a countdown on the door, or has that changed?
We'll probably put a. Well, it depends. It depends on if I can write the code without it breaking. We won't be putting countdowns on all of the doors in the city because then you'll see awesome countdowns and then the game will crash.
No, I mean from the Infini Hub.
We can work out, yeah, we may put one on the Infini Hub if we can work out the right way to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Otherwise, we're going to have Nikki standing in the Infini Hub counting down verbally.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
12 people can join my shard. That's fine.
Let's just do that.
No. Either way, we'll be letting people know in advance when we intend to do it.
Maybe we can put a nice big video up in the Infini Hub with a countdown. That might be more fun.
Yeah, I can do that.
Less work for Chris.
Yeah, let's do that, Chris. I can do that. No problem. That's all I'm doing nowadays.
Another thing that needs to be mentioned is that we will, I think specifically for this, have a public launch date and launch time.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of the time we just do either silent drops, like today we had a nice little silent drop in the app. I don't know if you guys have found it yet, but it's pretty cute. And then at the same time, we've also got public ones, and we'll do things like drop a city on the weekend or open up a new hub scraper or something of that nature. There, we won't necessarily give you an exact time, and that's one of the other things that we wanted to mention is that the exact time of things is very much dependent upon fluctuating circumstances or code or when the app is ready. It's not because we just sit there drinking beer and saying, right, when should we rock, paper, scissors launch this thing? So I think there are technical reasons why normally things aren't necessarily as locked into a specific moment in time. But that specific one for the joke apartments and the rest of the city or Megastar City, that you will have a specific time on, and we're gonna very much open it up.
Yeah,
again, barring bugs and all of the other stuff that can happen. Yeah,
and not only that, for those who haven't yet visited the tourist information, I highly recommend you go and visit the tourist information. I'm in the process of overhauling it to be able to include a lot more information on updates, etc. But if you if we're announcing stuff or talking about stuff on Discord and Facebook, the plan is that it will be available in there too. So check up in there periodically, see if there's any more updates in there. And if you bump into an info person, I'm also giving them the information as and when it becomes available. So there's a lot of different places you can go to find out if you aren't on Discord or if you aren't on Facebook. A question.
On that note,
yeah.
You just mentioned the info people. A couple of things. First of all, I would like to give a huge personal shout out of thank you and love to all the info people. You guys rock. We really, really, really appreciate the fact that you're there helping. We may not always get the chance to say it or show it, but we really do appreciate it as a team, as individuals, and it lets us get on with doing the dirty hard work of making the app. So we want to just say as a team, thank you for being there. I think you also were going to mention the fact that we might be looking for some more soon.
Correct. So the need from my side, once the info zone gets up and running, is to have more support. So I need more people. Currently, I think I have maybe 8 info people and 7 community support team. So the difference between the two is info team is in the app, community support outside of the app. So Discord, Facebook, and when we get around to doing the support, it will be on there too. So there are the 2 teams. I'll open the application window up again in probably next week, and then I'll start going through the process. It also means that if you've previously applied and you're still interested, you don't need to apply again. I'll be going through all the existing applications from the previous application round and reaching out to people, seeing if they're still interested. So don't feel obligated to apply again if you've already applied, but I'll make sure the information for that is posted, Discord, Facebook, in-app, tourist information, and anyone who's interested, feel free to apply and I'll reach out to you. But yeah.
I've got another question. I noticed that we've got lots of different social media accounts, but we don't have a TikTok account. And then I also noticed that Chris loves dancing.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, shouldn't we open up a TikTok account?
Yeah, I've been saying this. Yeah, like my theory is if things go wrong, then we just put up a TikTok of Chris. That'd fix the problem, right? Like elevator music, but Chris dancing.
What?
Yeah.
Fine.
Cool.
If it gets you guys off my back, I'll dance it.
That's great. I'll send you some costumes so that you have some like variety.
That's all right. I've got costumes.
Of course you do. So another question. This one's from Bobby. Are there plans for transparency on the upload of PNG files? I like the idea of this. I have been asking this, and I can't remember what your answer was, so I'm intrigued to know.
Yeah. Well, yes, yeah. Weirdly, we do currently support transparency with uploading PNG files. It just only works on certain panels. Well, I say that, and now I say it, I'm not 100% certain it does work on those panels. But yes, I would like to support proper transparency with uploading PNGs, so that when you pull them out of your wrist, they come through as properly transparent objects.
I know that Player 1UP would really appreciate that in particular, because right now he's having to consistently Photoshop background images to make it look like a PNG.
See, the thing is, I saw that and I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
And I don't want to spoil it.
So just add more work. That's so mean.
Yeah, that's got to be some of the most creative work that we've seen in the app. Absolutely brilliant. Love it.
Yeah, I think there are some people who have taken the tools that we have given already and just run with it. And it's from my point of view, it's fascinating to watch some of the creations that come out of something very simple, like the concept of mega malls and interlinking.
Yes.
Who was it that showed me? Free Prongs showed me the other day. He does custom designs for storefront banners and interiors. He's figured out a way of showcasing, like doing showrooms of what the storefronts will look like by using the templates and linking them into a mall. It's amazing that people are thinking this through and creating some incredible things.
But that's the same with the what is it, the Lakeside Mall, isn't it? And then
Yeah.
also Sammy B's Mega Mall.
Yeah.
I mean, those are awesomely, massive places. And I'm probably forgetting 1,000 other people's awesome malls that I should be calling out individually by name. But yeah, I go on tours every now and again and I get completely blown away.
Yeah.
On the subject of being blown away by creations, I do want to make a little shout out to Random Noob, because I got to say, the artwork that you create with your 360 photos and just general photos of the app and Infiniverse, they are a constant joy to our hearts. Random, you rock, and your cockerels rock even harder.
That didn't sound right.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Have you seen Picasso's flamingos? They're perfect. Another question: will you ever go public so we can buy a part of FTL?
So yeah, that's a much bigger question. I mean, there are ideas of that nature out there. Obviously, I think we need to get to the point of not being in pre-beta before we can even, honestly discuss something like that. The support that you guys have given to us, again, honestly, a massive heartfelt thank you to everybody. You have all contributed so much to both the platform, the app, our lives, and the success that we want to find ways of giving back and just saying thank you again, because it really is amazing. And what we've achieved together, when I say we, I don't mean the team only, I mean us, all of us, the users, is quite astounding and staggering. And while you've got people like Zuckerberg with his billions and billions talking the talk, here we are with a really cool bunch of users walking the walk, and that just makes every day worth getting up and living for. So thank you. I know we all have things that we get upset about, and Bobby is included in my thanks, even though he's a lovely individual. We love you all. We think you're all great, and the level of support that you guys have given so far is fantastic. If we do ever go public, we will let you know, don't worry, and we will talk about how you can get involved. I don't think this is the right time to discuss that in detail, but send some cash to this PayPal account. I'm going to post in a second.
Of course. It's just for tea and biscuits, right? Is there a way to get the total Infiniverse citizen population on the billboard and have it update periodically?
Yeah, again, stats and in general, stats of that nature are things that we are going to be looking into, but we want to do that again, probably more around the launch of finishing pre-beta and beta. Stats are fantastic, but as soon as you start launching stats, you get into this constant kerfuffle about give us new stats, or the stats become the be-all and end-all of everything. And one of the fantastic things about Infiniverse and Multiverse is all you have to do is walk into one of the cities and see the growth of the buildings to get a sense of the stats. So yes, we will be doing that. I'll let Chris. I think he was about to answer, so I'm going to shut up and let him talk. But in general, stats are important. We will get around to stats at some point, but not straight away.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to add that obviously, while some stats like that will be delayed, things like finding the storefronts and where they are, that is going to be coming much sooner, which is on a similar vein, but that's something that we see as really important, and making it possible to find stuff is high on the list.
So no Zombie Town leaderboard? I'd love a Zombie Town. Yeah, can you imagine?
Yeah.
I'd go out of my way to make sure I was beating everyone consistently every day.
See what I wanted to do back on Burnout Paradise, but I got shouted down because the people who made the decisions were really good at car games, was to make it that the leaderboard was only for that day.
Ooh.
And that way everyone can be a leader if they're willing to get up early enough.
Am I hearing some sort of participation medal award thing going on here, Chris?
Yeah, sounds like it.
Hardcore.
Can't win, so
No,
changes
you're
the
right.
rules so he can win.
No, you're right. It's true. I mean, one of the things that we did do, not enough of, but was talk a lot at Burnout around the concept of different types of things that some people might be better at. At the end of a race, you don't necessarily care whether somebody's coming fast, because not everybody in a race is going to come in first. Only one person's going to come in first. But there are other people who are going to be able to be best at smashing other people off the road, or knocking over lampposts, or jumping through billboards, or whatever it was that we were doing. Burnout. And I think that what Chris is talking about is pretty much that, not only a leaderboard, but a leaderboard for different things. It doesn't have to be just somebody's gone crackly. Is that me? Is that Chris? I don't know.
I think it was Chris. He fixed it though.
Fine,
Another question is, when are avatars coming?
I'll let Chris answer
that. San and I debate them a lot, and we're still, I wouldn't say we're at polar opposite ends, but they're a very, well, I'll tell you the fear I repeatedly repeat to San, and he can probably tell you all of the things that he disagrees with me about when I make that statement. The thing that holds me back is finding the right way to do avatars that doesn't negatively impact the community. Because I'm very, very conscious that avatars are such a personal thing, and they represent so much that doing them wrong can really change how community works. And I do think that some of the volatility of things like VR chat comes from the degree of anonymity that you get by default. I mean, obviously, Infiniverse is anonymous, but you're encouraged to show your profile picture, and I think that changes how people act in it.
Just make everyone anime girls; it'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the good. I've had several people come up to me and say they quite like that they're not forced to choose a body shape.
Yeah.
So there's things on that nature that make me hesitate to rush into the avatar world. As San would point out, on the flip side of that is everybody really wants avatars.
Yep.
So it's a difficult balance.
Maybe the option of people choosing to customize their avatar or stay with the default. Like, don't remove the default.
But then you get. We wouldn't remove the default. I mean, I think that the robot is probably going to be our little Twitter egg forever. But at the same time, I do think that there are points that Chris has made that I 100% agree with. I know that we have one of the better online social communities in VR, full stop, if not the best. That comes down to a lot of the people in this Discord listening and chatting and talking. You guys are great, and it's noticed. I've even been with people in a meeting with Oculus where they have said, yeah, you guys have an amazing community. It's noticed, and it's not just noticed by us, it's noticed by other people. So I do agree with Chris. There are things there that we need to be cautious of losing, because that is a fantastic element. At the same time, my counter to Chris, as he's pointed out, is that there's a huge amount of success and interest and excitement around products that do allow people to have avatars, whether it's what's it called, Fortnite, or whether it's VR chat on the negative end of the thing. You do have a lot of people that make a lot out of that and enjoy it and get a lot of joy out of it. So it's not necessarily, at least in my opinion, our job to remove that. It's our job to enable that in the best possible way while maintaining as good a community, as passionate and pleasant and nice community as possible throughout. Again, I do things like go back and watch a movie like Ready Player One, read the book. Great book, great movie. It's got lots of problems, agreed. It's not the best movie by a long shot.
Nope.
But it does have a lot of things in it that are worth noting and remembering. And I do hold that mirror up to ourselves every now and again. And I personally, wish that we could hold the mirror up and see avatars working.
Maybe.
I think really what needs to happen is that Chris and I need to find a way of solving both problems. I don't think this is going to be an arm wrestle with one side winning. I think it's going to be something where we find the right way of building this so that avatars work and they don't destroy the community.
Yeah, I think it also comes down to what people use the app for. Like the gamer mentality is this escapism, but then is escapism something that's part of our app in terms of what is the main pull? Is it to be social? Is it escapism? Is it to express a different person that you could never be? Or is it to be who you are in a virtual space? And you're never going to find an exact balance. And yeah, I don't envy the challenge you have ahead of you.
Well, one of the interesting concepts that we've got around that, and I don't want to get into this too long or too deep because it's a very, very deep rabbit hole. But there is a concept of sharding that Chris has, or slices, that Chris has talked about, where it would be possible to have different realms or versions or iterations or whatever it is, copies of the whole app for different types of people. And it's something that needs to be taken with a bit of caution because it could split the community entirely. But at the same time, there is potentially something in that for a concept like avatars. Not necessarily avatars, maybe it needs to be done for, I don't know, street racing with drag cars instead or something. I don't know. But there is something that Chris and I discuss quite often, which is we could create an alternate version of Infiniverse that people could choose to jump into or cross,
Just
transition into.
to clarify that one, because it's an important note, is the idea of that slicing tech is that you're online with different people but populating the same world. So you would still be in the same Infiniverse with the same properties there, but you would be playing with different people, which is kind of that's a key aspect. It wouldn't be like you change your current slice and you have to start again. But yeah, it's an interesting one. We've talked about it for lots of things.
Yeah.
At least we know that
I'm not saying it's a solution.
It's underway at least.
Yeah.
One of the questions
we've thought of a lot of different things you could use it for, and the problem is you can only use it for one or two things. You can't have 100 slices.
Exactly.
So once you've picked one, it's hard to go back.
So to move away from the avatar question, because I don't want to use up too much time on one topic, a question has been asked by Tricky? I don't know. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. It's, what are the plans for the starting Metaverse home location? It's kind of strange that once I've made a Metaverse public, my home becomes publicly accessible. And when I create a new Metaverse, there's no home location.
I answered that one a little bit. So I think that we need to do a better job of explaining the differences between metaverses. At the moment, we've got this concept where there is a private metaverse and a public metaverse, but there's also a subtle difference that's not really understood or communicated well enough by us, the dev team, or potentially even me explicitly, is that your starting metaverse, the one that your homeroom is in, is entirely different to every other one that you'll ever create. And this one starts with the core concept that your friends can join it, but public can't unless you make it public. And it's caused a lot of different issues across the realms. I think it's the right decision to have that distinction and to have this other concept for your home metaverse or your first metaverse. But it does cause confusion, and we need to do a better job of explaining it. If you create a new metaverse, that new metaverse only has the option of being private or public. And a private metaverse, you need to pay for people to be added as members, and your friends can't join it. A public metaverse, anybody can join. Whereas on your home metaverse, you have this core concept that your friends can join even if it's private. And that has caused a little bit of confusion. At the same time, we've also got this concept of a homeroom that was very much built off of the old concept of multiverse, and that's sitting in there a little bit as a legacy place where you now start. It's got a nice screen for us to put cool videos that Mrs. Cummings, Wendy, makes for the upcoming events, which is great, but it doesn't really sit inside the app in the same way as other elements, like, for example, an apartment that you bought. And I think we need to do a bit of a rehash of how the flow of the app starts, and also how we communicate what the different metaverses do and how they work, so that concept can be something that everybody can make the most of. Because I think that people are missing a trick, and we've not done a good job of communicating it.
Yeah, and as things kind of increase in development for the info zone, I'm trying and brainstorming and trying to push for ways in which we can better put information into the app that doesn't require you to have to go to Facebook or Discord to get information easily. So at the moment we have the info zone being developed. If you go to the Tourist Information Centre and click on the left door, you'll go to a new room that's under development at the moment. The info team have been diligently working on some incredible guides and FAQs and event rooms to show you all the events that are upcoming. There's even a contact us button. There's a room that's going to show all the upcoming updates, and all the information that we're putting out should be available there. It's just how we do that and making that process not just transparent but easy to automate is really important, because what we don't want to do is put in a really complicated room that needs days to be updated, and then all of a sudden that information's out of date or obsolete. So you should find the information should become more easily accessible in the app.
And I've been looking at that every now and again. It's an awesome place that you guys are building. I'm very, very looking forward to having that. It's a key destination within the app that we can point people to. So thank you everybody for your work and effort in building that out. It is going to be cool, and we do need to work out some of the hidden functionality and features that exist within Multiverse, how to communicate them, and that's a good one. Good way to do it.
Next question is, what's the roadmap or timeline for monetization within the Infiniverse? When can someone sell real estate for tokens that aren't just specific to the Metaverse?
Can someone sell? Are you asking about getting cash out?
I don't think it's specifically that. I also think that is more related to being able to use MetaCoin for more than just buying real estate.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a finite timeline for that yet. We definitely want. I mean, San and I were just talking today about could we make ways, for example, for people to be able to set up private metaverses that they got paid in MetaCoin for entry to. So we have a few ideas like that. There's some really tricky things to solve when it comes to actually allowing people to directly within app make, say, credit card transactions that actually take money from one person to another, because we have to fit within a big set of terms and conditions with Meta, and Meta really like a slice of everything. They're big fans of that. But yeah, so I mean, we're looking at more things to do with MetaCoin and more ways for users to buy things off other users with MetaCoin. I think we're still in the situation, personally, San may not agree, where the most imminent way people are going to make real fiat currency in Infiniverse is likely to be the use of NFTs with properties. That's my view.
I 100% agree.
Future.
No. I think there are potential avenues for enterprise clients, like, for example, Joke, and the ability for them to charge entrance into an area like a metaverse through ticketing. So whether it's Joke or whether it's another entity that wants to do ticketing to a private metaverse, I think that could be something that we see happening, within a reasonable amount of time. I also think that there's an evolution of that concept that Chris and I have been discussing today about, having a private metaverse that people can be paid in Metacoin to get into. That doesn't necessarily result in direct, fiat currency output, but it does allow you to spend that Metacoin on content inside the app that can help you generate revenue. I think those are all avenues that we'll be looking a lot more closely into over the coming months. and you should see some of this happening. Chris and I keep on having to bite our tongues with regards to promising things that we know are on the horizon, but we don't have a timeline for. So I think I'm going to shut up before I accidentally promise something.
Yeah, I was going to say, remember what we said earlier about not giving timelines in case it's delayed?
Yes.
Be careful now.
Exactly.
With regards to the Megastar City, someone's asked the question of, on the day, will they be able to stand in front of the apartment that they want and purchase it at start time, or will a refresh, update, app restart, or shard refresh be required?
The plan is for the doors to unlock live, so you shouldn't have to leave Infiniverse and come back.
Well, that's good.
If Ollie has forgotten that, then I'll poke him and make sure he does do that.
I'll add that to the list to remind you.
Ollie's covering his ears.
I mean, I don't blame him.
Yeah, the intention is absolutely for you to be able to wait for the unlock time, which we will obviously announce, and when the unlock time ticks over, the apartment doors will unlock and you'll be able to do stuff.
That's good.
I'm going to be standing there watching the buildings go up and the apartments get allocated, because that's going to be one of the most interesting things. I used to do that a lot on the drops. I remember there was one mermaid drop where I stood there frantically capturing screenshots of the apartments growing in the background in other shards. And again, that's one of the things that I love about the technology that Chris has made and the Infiniverse, is you can be standing in the Infiniverse some location, and then you could just see a building grow behind you in the distance. and that, that is not necessarily from within your shard, that's from another shard, and yet your shard reflects that growth.
Yep.
That is just so cool. So cool. And more of that sort of technology and that sort of experience, I think, is going to be great in the near future.
I noticed that whenever there is a new drop, you'll go and stand around the new drop, and within seconds the thing powers up, and it's already 5 times the size it started at.
Cool.
Another question.
Bloody hard. But cool.
Another question. Are there plans in the near future or far future to unlock some of the developer areas? I don't know specifically what they mean by developer areas, but I will kind of modify that question to, when is Tooniverse coming?
Like Tooniverse.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's 2 different areas that we have hidden, or the locked off areas that I can, me and the developers can bring content bubbles out to, or big sphere bubbles out to send people to. There's areas where we have done stuff that are literally just R&D, testing concepts, working with enterprise clients, and putting together an R&D concept. I don't know, some people keep on talking about the Lamborghini room, and it took me a long time to work out that was just one of these showcase car rooms that we had. And people love it. I think that is absolutely something, as long as we've got the rights to let that go public in a proper way, we're going to be adding to the app in some interesting avenues that you'll be able to find and explore. I believe Wendy's already looking into how to do that. You rock, Wendy. Can't wait to be able to open those areas up. Then there's some other areas, actually 3 now I think of it. There's ones that are a little bit private. So for example, one of our enterprise clients was a company called Halter that did massive construction in Switzerland, where they were building 4 apartment buildings, and we did some absolutely beautiful work with them on the creation of digital twins of their finished apartments that they were using to sell to in real estate, to sell to investors during COVID that couldn't come to the destination, couldn't even look at the showcase apartments in the buildings that were going to be built, and therefore they needed to use VR for it. That was very successful. But not just that, the apartments were stunning and beautiful. There was a lot of work that the artist team and Chris and team put into making that both look good, but also just work amazingly well on an original quest. If we can get the rights to show those, we're going to open those up as well.
I was going to
But that's
say,
a second tier of content that needs to be shown and seen. And
I've seen some of that content and that quality of textures in your new penthouse. Like, the penthouse looks stunning. The people
Exactly.
have been asking if the screenshot I took of the cushions, are the cushions real? And if anyone hasn't seen the video yet, today we released a video of the new penthouse. It's posted in the announcements channel, or you could just go to our YouTube channel. Please follow it, and then you'll be able to get even more videos that might be coming out imminently. But the quality and of the textures in those rooms are mind blowing. And I know it's a lot more impressive in VR too. It's I just can't comprehend how you're able to achieve that with the technology of the Quest 2.
It comes down to squeezing Chris's brain until magic juice comes out and then sprinkling it across the code. But yeah, that's how we do it.
Poor Chris.
Yeah, there's some very clever stuff going on, and yeah, it's very cool. I can't wait for the apartments, the new apartments to come out. I think that there will be some people that will send me hate mail. Cool. I will reply to it with love and care and attention, but I think in general people will be impressed and should be impressed by what we can do, what we'll be showing, and that know that that's just the beginning.
Yeah, exactly.
There's one last area, which is the world of something like Tooniverse. I would love to open Tooniverse up, and I sort of think some days I wake up and I say, right, we're just going to open Tooniverse and put it out there and let people go and explore it. But I also think there's a little bit of a missed opportunity in doing that, because one of the things that we could do with the whole Tooniverse world is opening up with actual gameplay content and things in there. So there's this sort of tug of war going on, at least in my head, and Chris may or may not disagree, but between just making it public and letting people explore it, or waiting until we've actually got some gameplay mechanics in there that make it fun to go and visit and actually have a purpose.
A reason to go in.
Rather than just a place to
take selfies.
Just to go and look at.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things I find with those is they're great when San is showing you around, but if they're just there, then a lot of people who are new to the app might end up there first and think, what the hell is this? Because San isn't in there permanently saying, look, this is awesome. So if we do unlock somewhere, we'll always have it in our minds that through some series of clicks on menus, this might be the first place a person sees other than Grand Central.
Yeah. With no context, so it's a bit weird.
A little bit cautious if we open something with no context whatsoever, without easy to find doors that take you to certain places, then well, it's a risk basically.
Yeah. Don't want to scare the new players by the terrifying witch cats in Cute Village or Sweet Village, whatever it was. Toon Village.
Yes, that one.
I love it.
Yeah, no, exactly. Those are great places, and again, you've got to remember that we put those in, built them because they were R&D projects for us into actually how to go about doing something like Infiniverse. And it's thanks to Chris exploring Tooniverse that we have Infiniverse. It's a big part of it is due to us playing around with those sorts of concepts. So they are cool. We get that. We understand that, and we will find a way to launch them. It just won't be today.
No. Any chance you could change the watch tab that says Infiniverse Beta to Properties? I know what they mean. I always forget that that's where I could go to find my list of properties. Just a name change.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Probably doable.
There you
go. I think in general, so apart from just changing the name, I think that there's a couple of things that we've done that, again, sometimes we can't see the wood for the trees. Just the other day, I had a customer or a user who was upset because they couldn't get into Infiniverse because they went into the Infinity Hub and they found the Infiniverse doors had big locks on them. And obviously, for a person who doesn't understand that Fortune City or Central City or Cherry Springs are actually part of Infiniverse and doorways to those areas. The fact that Infiniverse is in the Infinity Hub but with locks on it for a new user is a completely confusing concept. So we need to fix that. And again, whenever something like that comes up, feel free to shout, knock us on the head and say, look, guys, you've made a mistake. You've made it confusing for new users. They don't know what they're doing. That is one of those things that we acknowledge happen, and we appreciate it whenever anybody calls it out. Those doors will be changing so they don't say Infiniverse and have a lock over them and don't make people confused soon. So yeah,
changing the
whether
button
it's Yeah, you're going to change them. No, we'll give that to.
Is it my properties? Or
I
properties?
think
I think
just
you were
property
gonna
list. Property list makes sense, right?
Or wasn't it Chris is God? Isn't that what all
ChrisC
coders
God?
write whenever they?
Well, okay, we've got my metaverses there, so I'm going to make it my properties. There you
Yeah,
go.
my
Done.
properties.
Perfect.
Nice.
Done.
Yay!
Wow. Live
That will be the
live on an
next
AMA.
build.
Wow. There you go, Marigold. On that topic of random locks on new city doors, the biggest question that came up yesterday was, why Megastar City?
Oh, that's because yeah, that's me. You can.
Can I explain it?
namings.
Because I
Yeah,
like
go on,
it.
you explain it.
No word of a lie. We took a good half a day writing down lists of different combinations of, like, well, it doesn't have to use city, it could use pleasant or villa, and what about this, what's a different word for this? And I think by the end of it, we'd kind of considered so many different options that Megastar ironically sounded the safest. So it was Sans fault.
Yeah, I think we threw it off there right at the end as if, well, it could be this, and then somebody said, yeah, that, and it was like, okay, done. Talked about all these other names for about a week or whatever.
Yeah.
It felt like a week.
Yeah, it felt like
it's not an
ages.
awful name, Marigold.
It's a
better than
great
Sam
name.
Shepherd.
It's great. Beast City.
Mega in it. That makes it already puts it in the top half of names.
Exactly.
I love your logic. It's completely not flawless.
I think we might change it in the future to be Mega Super Cool City or something like that. But Mega City it is.
I think many years in the games industry, as San and I have just lost patience for naming things.
Yes.
Yeah.
The number of times we've sat in a meeting wasting 2 hours of development time working out the name of a product that we haven't shipped yet.
This is why I need to get my poll and voting system up and running so that the community could name things.
Yeah, but then Willa would just force Boaty McBoatface City down our throats.
On everything.
So no way we're going to let that happen. Yeah, exactly. Or Kari McCarface. Or Chicken McChickenface.
No. We'll just end up with like Beast City 2.0, Beast City 3.0.
I'm going to say it now. I am happy with Megastar City.
Oh.
Yeah, me too. I love it. It makes me wake up with a smile on my face.
I am indifferent.
Yeah. And I think it's perfectly suited to the launch of our TikTok channel where we're going to have Chris dancing.
I can't wait for that. You know, I'm just not going to stop until he actually does it, right? Oh, it's going to be great. A question that came up from earlier was, is there a way people can request statues in certain districts, and do we have an official district list?
So we have no official district list. We have no official. That's something that really needs to be called out. Willa is awesome, but she has created districts that don't exist, or she's created districts that do exist but only in her mind, or I don't know what. But she's awesome beyond belief, and yet at the same time the bane of our existence. The concept of an official city. I mean, I've had people that I've been working with that know me on a personal level come up to me and say, "San, I want to be on the district list." And I'm like, "We don't have a district list." And they say, "Yeah, you do." So there's nothing official. And they say, "Yeah, there is." And it just turns out to be the massive success of Willa. So I think what we need to do there is be very clear. We will support what the community does. And the best example of that is Alliance City. Alliance City was built by the community, defined by the community, named by the community, and we supported that. And I think of that daily. So we might not talk about it daily, but the people that did that and created that city and that place, hats off. You guys rock. That was an amazing example of how to take control. On the other hand, I also have to call out that there are places like the Caribbean district or like the Wild West, or I don't know, a million other places that I could rattle off if I just had a mindfully functioning brain, that also need love and attention and care, and we have yet to do that. And that is not because we don't love those areas. I mean, the art district, oh my God, how long has it taken us not to still have
An official,
something there. Yeah, and that, I'm humiliated by that, but at the same time, the only defense I've got is the art district is so awesome that we were, every time we thought about putting something there, it didn't
It's not
feel
good
like it lived
enough.
up to what the art district
Yeah.
exactly. And that, that's a mistake on our behalf, but at the same time, that was how we felt every time we thought about it.
I think
We can't really create something that lives up to that, and that is there all the time, whether it's the Caribbean district or whether it's Blackwall Street or whether it's something else.
Yeah.
We sort of want to build and put something there that lives up to what the district represents and the passion of the people that have got involved in putting themselves and that district on the map.
Yeah.
And often we don't feel that we're worthy of doing that, and therefore it stagnates a little bit.
Yeah.
Apologies.
I think
I
as
want
well.
to apologize for that, and I want to say we're going to tackle it.
Yeah, I think as well, it's also coming back to the point of there's only a small cluster of us, and we need to spend more time outside of the app at the moment making sure that things are being developed than in the app to be able to see, which is why it's even more important for us to have dedicated, really passionate people within the community and our info team being our eyes, kind of bringing our attention to districts that are doing incredible things, or people requesting and creating and hosting events that are just mind-blowing. These are then bringing our attention, letting us say, hey, this is really cool, what can we do to best support that? And I think there are some districts that I pop up in periodically because one or two of you have seen me there. I'm counting how many individual users there, because occasionally you might get people saying, oh, come to this district, come to that district, but you go there and there's maybe just one or two people who just have a lot of apartments over there and it's not an actual kind of community. But then there are other communities that have got over 100 users in one area and they're hosting huge events on the weekends and giveaways and tours and discos and parties, and we just need to be able to track it and be able to respond to it a little bit better. And I think at the moment, whilst we've not had anybody dedicated to do that, it's been very hard. But now I'm part of the team. It's one of my priorities to kind of make sure that I'm bringing to the attention of Chris and San, hey, there's this community doing this thing, and the info team have told me that these guys are doing this. You should come and check it out.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to call that out. We aren't the owners of this app. The community are the owners of the app. And you guys make it, you build it, you rock. We're there to support you. I know that we don't always do a good enough job of that, and I apologize on behalf of myself mostly for that. But we are here to do that, and that is our goal, and that is what we will continue to try and attempt to do. So whether it's, New York City or whether it's, I don't know, I can just call them off, but my brain is literally dead now. Those things are awesome, and absolutely the passion, the time and the effort, whether it's Sharano and his various different projects he's put together, or the cool things that have come out that you guys have made is unbelievable. And if only we were worthy enough to be able to support you all in the way that you deserved. Women's District, I mean, my God, the Music District, oh my God, I just can go on and on and on. You guys have done some unbelievable things.
Not forgetting Rollo last night. Dear Lord.
Oh, exactly. I mean, that was just so, yeah, exactly. Everybody was talking about that this morning, and the Dope Show, and, oh my God, wow, you guys rock. I mean, we've built some cool tech, but really, you guys rock. And that's something the team talk about daily, and we don't forget. We have, sure, we own this, but our job is to curate and to provide and to support you guys in achieving what you want to do. And we do listen to that, and we do acknowledge that we don't always succeed at that, and we do want you guys to tell us when we don't, and we do listen. So please talk to us about it, shout out about it, make it something that we can know about. Talk about where we need to do things. We won't always get it right. We won't always be able to get it, in a way that everybody is going to please everybody, just like the balconies. But our intentions are to make it better and to support people as much as possible. And now that I've talked for too long, I'm going to pass it over to Chris, who has an awesome end of AMA announcement that I think he's going to make.
Yep.
Yeah, I just got the first version, which we will be launching soon, of a real-time in-app map on the wrist panel. Working.
Oh my
Just
lord.
press the button, just appeared.
Oh my god. Chris.
Now
So
you've
coming,
said it. When are we
coming
shipping it?
soon to a build near you.
Ah, you've said coming soon. That's
You
not-
have no
Yeah.
How many
idea.
minutes until we can have it?
How you have no
Many
idea
minutes.
how happy you're going to
A
make
number of them.
people. I'm a bit
Yeah.
worried that Weiler's out of a job
So,
though.
cool.
But it doesn't matter. Everyone will be able to see where
Wow.
they're going.
Now, Weiler's got a massive magazine that she's got to curate and make.
Yeah.
I go and read that regularly when I don't have enough time to go into the app.
Do you think,
I'll
Chris?
sleep.
Do you think you could get us a little sneaky screenshot, for so people could see?
If you give me a minute,
Oh.
my computer just crashed.
Video.
Oh, come on. I've already got like 5 videos I need to make. Yeah, a sneaky screenshot would really make people happy. And then I can also tell the people on Facebook and in app via the Tourist Information Centre.
Well, I'll tell you what, my machine has just half crashed, so how about I put a screenshot up in 20 minutes when
Yeah.
my machine is uncrashed again.
That'll be good. Okay. So, as San mentioned, we are now reaching the end of the AMA. For those of you who have been around and for the entire thing, if you bump into people in the app who completely missed it and they want to catch up on it, it's going to be on the YouTube channel.
The YouTube.
On the YouTube where all the cool kids hang out. Oh, jeez. But yeah, it'll be on YouTube. I'll also post a link in the Discord and on Facebook so you can watch it on the embed. But yes, it's been a good time speaking to you both. This, I'm assuming, isn't a one-off thing. It's likely that whenever we have a big update or when we have anything that might cause questions, that I will pester these two to do an AMA so that we can kind of give you a bit more opportunity to ask questions.
Yeah, and on that note, I mean, just want to say one of the things that I appreciate is, thank you, Nikki, for being with us and joining us and helping us out and doing this. This is cool. We do appreciate you, even though we may not always show it. Another thing is transparency. The app and our team, we want to be as transparent as possible, but we do not want to get into the realm of promising things that we aren't certain we're going to deliver. Point in case is the map and what Chris has just managed to do. He's been working on that for a while. It doesn't mean that it's not going to come. You've been told it's coming. It's coming. These things are things that we're working on. We just, as a team, we will try and answer every question that we can that's reasonable, that we haven't answered a million times before. But we will also not promise something that we can't deliver and won't deliver, or don't know for 1,000% certain that we will deliver. And that hopefully is something that you guys will all learn to know about us and will realize we do. When we say we do something, we will deliver it. We will do it. We will put that on there. And if we don't talk about it, it doesn't mean it's not getting done. It just means we can't necessarily promise it'll get done this week.
Yeah. And it may just mean as well, I mean, a few times people have got quite frustrated that we're not saying a thing, and it's actually because we've sat down with Nikki, who has spent time writing out something that's as clear as it could possibly be, in as simple phrasing as possibly be, to avoid any confusion whatsoever. And if I come out and spew out a half explanation in a couple of sentences in response to one person in Discord, it's not helpful.
Exactly.
So sometimes it's just the reason it's, you've not heard about it yet, and you actually are going to find out about it in 2 days, is we're just making sure that we know exactly what to tell you. We've got the message exactly right, so that it helps everyone. Because often it doesn't matter if you have to wait a day, if waiting that day means you get the right information.
We just had somebody call out that none of their questions have been answered. I'm going to try to very quickly answer some of those questions by Atunessa. We're not trying to block you out. Metro, absolutely love the Metro, want the Metro to work. We've got a little bug that we've got to fix. It's taken us years and years to fix. We will fix it soon. And when it's fixed, we will have Metros, and Metros will rock. And they will be everywhere. And we love the Metro system. Don't worry, it's coming. Second question, there is a new second city door that's locked in the Infinity Hub. Is that going to be a new city like Megastar? No, it's going to be one of the current cities. Can't tell you which one, but it's going to be awesome. And it's going to have a much cooler name than Megastar. It's going to be called Megastar or something like that. I don't know. There's a need for a better understanding of the sell to game current algorithm. Chris earlier wanted to post the code. I looked at the code and thought it was too cool to ever post, so I nixed it. It's not because we don't want to be transparent on that, it's just because posting code is just the wrong way to go for a company. We need to do a better job of communicating it. I take that on board. Atunessa, you can slap me over the head and force me to talk more about how that works, and we will communicate it in a way that everybody can understand, aside from just code. Chris wants to be transparent. If sometimes he's not, it could be my fault. You're free to knock me on the head and shout at me for that. When will you be able to see properties in prices on the risk panel and or in Multiverse Online? I can't tell you when. Is it relevant? Yes, it is. Is it something that we could do soon? Probably not soon, because there are other things that are a bigger bang for buck. I understand that for some people that's really important, but the majority of people don't have so many properties that is the most important feature to add. So apologies. I know that you might really, really, really love that feature, but we are trying to navigate on a daily basis what features we can add that have the biggest bang for the biggest number of users. And we may not get that right all the time, but we do try to make it our priority to do it that way. When will we be able to see property prices? No, I answered that one. And the AMA ends without any of my several questions here addressed. Sorry, we've just addressed as many as we could.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of you that joined.
Where is the after party? What's in there?
There's no after party except.
Oh, there is an after party.
There's
I've got one at least.
There's an after party on TikTok. We're gonna pay Chris to dance.
Cool. Pay me to dance now.
Yeah, I'll pay you. I'll pay you.
Special costume.
I'll pay you in. I'll pay you in nerd merchandise.
Okay.
Red Dwarf merchandise. There you go.
Ooh.
There you go. Oh.
Merchandise. Now you got me. No, definitely after party. We can all have it in Infiniverse.
Yeah.
InfiniHub after party. I'm going there now. Or at least as soon as I take these headphones off.
I'll probably join this evening. I need to yeet my infant into bed first. So.
Yes. Infant bed yeet.
Yeah, exactly.
And Evil Lair. Yeah, we'll open that up and have an after party there when we launch the whole thing out of pre-beta.
Yeah.
Marigold. I'll see you there.
Okay.
I'll get some screenshots up once I've restarted my computer.
Good job. Yeah. Right. Thank you for everyone for joining.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'll give you information about where you can watch this video in Discord shortly. But other than that, have a good evening. Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.